Hi, I'm Tammy.
And I'm Cindy, and we're the Hoosier sisters in search of Forrest Fenn's treasure. And today we're going to talk about the 6th stanza, and then later we're going to talk about the identical chest at the Detroit Institute of Art Museum. First of all, Tammy, why you got your coat on?
Listen, we woke up, it was -6 degrees, regular temperature. The wind chill was -44. It is so cold out here, they've actually said, don't go outside.
Yeah.
So Bink, the dog, he's just still in bed. He hasn't even gotten up today. What is it, 4:30?
Is he a night owl?
No, he's just really lazy.
Hey, do you want to read the 6th stanza?
Yes, I will. Okay. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you've been brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold.
Okay, so hear me all and listen good. He's telling us to listen again, like he does very often.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe kind of goes along with think, listen and think.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to Irene Rawlings and Doug Preston's interview with Forrest from 2011. And he said, a person willing to sit down and think can figure it out. And I thought that was kind of made me think about, like, what did he mean? Sit down and think and figure it out.
That's all I do is think on it. I think so much that I can't hardly sleep, I think.
And then in the next part of that sentence, your effort will be worth the cold. And I don't even like that part of the sentence. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. And I mean, unless he is referring to the cold as the chest because it's bronze, and in his book he's talked about the kids touching something bronze and it felt cold. I mean, otherwise, I don't really like that part of the sentence. Maybe he just used it to rhyme, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next part, if you're brave and in the wood, I think that is the same thing as if you're brave and in the woods, and he just said wood. And he also has a comma missing after wood. And then I give you title to the gold. I don't believe there's a title in the box, but I think that sentence, I don't think it has a lot of purpose. I think it's just ending the poem. And that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
Okay. Well, yeah, he's telling us again, hear me, listen, focus, right? Think, all his favorite things to tell us. Your effort will be worth the cold. You know, I like that you're in the cold. You are where you are at, it's cold. Either the temperature is cold or well, yeah. The temperature is cold, you know, and that could be due to elevation, could be because it's shaded, you know, a lot of reasons why it could be cold. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in the water, but
yeah, I don't think it has to do with the water at all.
Mm-hmm. And so also in the wood is an old-timey saying as well, and it means courageous in the wood.
Okay, and that makes sense too. If you're brave and courageous, I give you title to the gold. Although you don't have to be brave and courageous because it's safe to take your kids.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, I think he just was ending his poem and just putting words in there that he thought sounded good.
No offense, Forrest Fenn. Mm-hmm.
I just think the whole thing is just simple.
Hmm.
Maybe I go too simple, but
Hmm. Yeah, and I give you title to the gold is just a grand statement, I think.
yeah, if you can find it, you can have it.
I give you title to the gold.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if I know you, if you guys want to comment below, you can tell us what you think about that stanza, and you know, we don't have a lot to say about it, but I know some of you think those are clues. I don't really think they're clues. They may be clear when the treasure's found. The finder may think, oh, this is what he meant, but I don't think they're clues to help you find it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to go on to the next subject?
Yes, the
Okay.
next subject.
The next subject is the chest or casket that was found by someone on Facebook um, at the Detroit Institute of Art Museum. And I saw Finn Treasure Hunter's video, and he's the one who mentioned it, and I was just kind of shocked that there was another chest. And so I called the curator and spoke to her, and I told you guys I would let you know more of what she said. Okay. When
That's
she
right, you guys. She called her up and talked to her.
yeah,
Cindy talked to a woman.
yeah, I did talk to a woman, and she was helpful. She was kind of shocked and maybe a tiny bit irritated, but she was nice. When I told her I was calling about the 19th century casket, and by the way, a casket, jewelry boxes back in the 19th century were called caskets, even little jewelry box. And I have one I was going to show you, but anyway.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with funerals or death or anything like that.
Anyway, I told her I was calling about the 19th century casket, and she said, "What is going on? I've had 4 calls and several emails, and even a person wanted to purchase it. Is this a scavenger hunt?" And I said, "Well, no." And I explained to her about Forrest Fenn and his treasure, and he hid it in 2009, 2010 in the Rocky Mountains. And she said, "I call that a scavenger hunt." And so anyway, I told her I wanted to know when it was donated, and she said in 1969. So, you know, that kind of answers some of our questions, because we know it's not Finn's actual chest, but I told her that Forrest told us his chest is Romanesque, dated 1150 AD. And she was quite blunt in what she thought. She pretty much said he was lying and probably was pulling our leg about the whole treasure hunt and having a big laugh. And I didn't argue with her, you know, why would I? She said that the 19th century people were into Renaissance and Gothic art, so the things were created in that likeness. And I said, so there's no way the chest that Forrest hid that looks exactly the same can be from 1150 AD? And she said no. So I don't believe she was saying that it was made as a copy of an original. I think she was saying they were made in the likeness of that time period. But I did send her an email again to see if she thought there was an original, just to clarify that. And they were closed today due to weather. So, you know, I don't know if I'll get an answer or not. She might be tired of it all.
Yeah, she might be.
Yeah.
Plus, the wind chill up there in Detroit is probably -80 today.
Now, here are my thoughts on the chest. I believe that the chest that Forrest hid and the chest that's at the Detroit Museum are identical. I believe that Forrest chest is from the 19th century. I can see with my eyes, they are exactly the same. I emailed Forrest, but he didn't respond, of course. And but he did put a statement on Del Neitzel's site, Dell did, and he said, Forrest just told me that the new chest is much smaller than his chest, and although the images on the new chest look similar, they are not identical to the images that appear on Forrest's chest. And well, I disagree with that because I can see the images and they are identical. And the size is identical too. I mean, theirs is 9 3/4 by 9 3/4, and his is 10 by 10. So, you know, it is the same. That's my opinion. I know that Forrest paid $25,000 for it, and he said he knows he paid way too much for it. I don't know if he knew, you know, if he knew it was a 19th century chest when he wrote about it. Maybe he was even deceived by his museum friend or his excited antique scholar who told him that it was probably from 1150 AD. Maybe he felt like it didn't really matter because a redneck from Texas with 12 kids who finds the chest really will not care when the chest is from, and I'm sure that's true. And you know, or you know, maybe he didn't know because I mean, his collection, he's not into 12th century and 19th century boxes. That's, you know, he's more into the Native American things, and I don't know. That's my opinion on that. He did say, it doesn't matter how good that painting is, it matters how good I can make you think it is. And so, you know, it makes you wonder. He said a writer only has to be right 85% of the time, something like that. So, you know, maybe the antique scholar told him the time period he felt it was from, and maybe Forrest just went along with it because, you know, that guy was supposed to be the expert, and maybe Forrest himself is surprised that there's an identical chest, but I do believe it is identical. And you know, anyway, with all that being said, we've been studying this whole thing for over 6 years, and we still believe that there's a chest out there, and then that is filled with gold coins and artifacts, and I believe it's real. He thought he was dying and wanted one last adventure and to be remembered. And many people, including Doug Preston and Michael McGarity, saw the chest in his vault. And also there's a lot of people that vouched for him and said if he said he was going to do it, he did it. So, you know, I believe he did it. And I've said this before, if I were in his shoes and thought I was dying and didn't die but had the means to hide a treasure, I would hide a treasure. That'd be fun, and he could sit back and watch one last adventure and see what's going on. So I would hide it, and I think he did do it. I think he seems like a nice guy and seems kind to everyone. He's put up with a lot from people who are, you know, kind of crazy, and he puts up with them. And so yes, Virginia, there is a treasure. That's my opinion. What do you think about it, Tammy?
Well, I had so much to say about it. I had to write it all down because I got a bad memory. Okay, let me tell you guys from the beginning. Say, what was that? 2012. Cindy was like the little sister pulling on me like this. Hey, why would he put that in the, why would he do? And I'm like, okay. And she's like, hey, why would he put a chest from the 1100s? And I'm like, well, because he thought he was dying. Shh, because he thought he was dying, and you know, shh. Okay, so I didn't pay her any mind about that until just the other day. Poor little thing. She don't get no attention. It is my opinion that Forrest Fenn, I don't mean to be mean or rude or anything like that, but there is no possible way, I believe, that he would have taken something from the 1100s, the 12th century, and put it out into the nature. That in my collection is going to be my prized possession. Now think about this a moment. Let's do the math, okay? That sitting bull thing that he has, that he's so proud of.
He's 5.
Yes. Okay, so sitting bull, you're talking about the 1800s, okay? And he's really proud of that. Now he might have some dinosaur bones or mammoth tusk or something that's from, you know, Jurassic era, but really, if he truly thought that that was from the 12th century, I'm thinking he's not going to put it out there. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. I mean, we're talking about a museum piece, and I know he hates museums, but we're talking about, you know, I looked on the internet. I could not find anything of that nature from the 12th century. Okay. All I could find was the 19th, 18th century. Okay. Now, just to keep that into perspective, I have a dining room table that's 100 years old. It's from the 1800s. You know, we play cards on it, we eat supper on it. It ain't no big deal. Sorry, I'm sorry. So I should have paid attention to this from the very beginning, because yeah, somebody has made a mistake. And I get it that he qualified it with someone told me that it might be, you know, that and that, but yeah. And does that change things for me? It does not for this year, because I already made my reservations for all of us. Yeah. So no, it can't change things now, can it? But when we all come back, am I going to have a change of heart? I don't know. I can't really say. I'm disheartened because in antiquities, there's this thing called provenance, and you pass that along with your item. And so having told us that this is Flemish or Romanesque, there was our clue right there, Romanesque, meaning like, and that was our clue. But oh, I forgot my train of thought.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's kind of eye-opening because, you know, when you think about the age of the chest and that it would be sitting out in nature, that's kind of, I wouldn't think he would do that either, you know.
Yeah, and I was talking about provenance, you know. People trust that say your quilt came from, you know, great grandma, you know, and blah blah blah, and that's the provenance of it. So having told us, even with the qualifiers, like I've been told, and they think that nevertheless that there is flawed provenance and we can't pass that along. So as the family historian and an amateur genealogist, I had problems with that today.
Yeah. I think that this whole thing will fade, and it won't be on our minds, and we'll be back to normal with the chase. It's just, we might say something snarky occasionally, but to each other. But I don't think that it really matters. I think that, at this point, he's already said what he said. So he may be surprised that a chest came about, a duplicate one. And but he couldn't say, oh, I was mistaken. He couldn't do that, because I think that it would cause things to fall apart. So, I understand why he's saying, no, that's different, but it's not. But I understand him, needing to say something. So, he's saying it's different, but it's not different.
Yeah, but then he needs to bring out them qualifiers that he said. Well, I told you that they thought it was.
Yeah, but then he would be admitting that it is the same, or that it is from the 19th century. And so he's not going to do that. And the only way that I would believe that he is correct is if the curator says, oh yeah, there is an original, and they are made off an original. Well, then I still don't know that I believe it, because where is the original? I don't know.
A one of a kind for centuries.
Stick it in the dirt.
And the difference between the 1800s and the 1100s is 700 years, 7 centuries. It makes a big difference. And here's my problem. I'm a girl that's always had trust issues. Always. I got trust issues. And it was, for long ago, trust issues. And this did not help anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I believe it's out. The treasure's still out there, and it's still, worth a lot of money. And even if the chest is not worth $25,000, which it wasn't anyway, because he said he paid way too much. Even if it, is worth a lot less, like a couple of zeros need to come off there, then it's still the treasure's valuable, and it's still an adventure. And we still had fun, and
yes.
We just want to have fun, and and that's, I guess, a very little part of the treasure. The data of the box. I guess it's a very little part, and anyway, it was just kind of shocking.
Well, and you said it makes more sense that he put the 19th century box out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let me see if I covered it. Oh, yeah, about Sotheby's. For real now. Now you're going to take that chest to Sotheby's now. For real? Because I'm telling you, they have a lot of stuff from the 19th century, I can't say the words that I want to say because I'm trying to not be nasty.
Now, do you think that it still would have value and would be auctioned off just because of what it's about? That there's been so many people who've looked for it, and don't you think that the value is still there?
It's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I did find a 19th century box. Wasn't exact, but it gave me a good idea. you know, you can, that box is like roughly, just an estimate guess, 10,000. Okay, that might be a high one. You know, you can look it up. But yeah, and is it monetary to me? No, it's not about that. We said we got so many people we have to share it with anyway. It's about finding the dang thing. But what has developed here is a trust problem for me. So that's what it is there.
Well, what if that's his, 85% that he, has to be right?
Well,
I don't know.
sometimes I just have to keep my mouth shut.
Okay. Well, I don't.
Not to you, I didn't mean. I
don't want it to be a negative video, but it was something shocking, and I said I was going to talk about it, and like I said, I'm sure it will fade away, and we'll forget about it and still have our excitement about trying to find the treasure. It's just today, yeah. Today is just different, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep on trying to find it, and like you said, we're going to be heading out there, so that was the purpose. So we'll keep on doing it, and I know it's the treasure's out there. It's just I really like that box, and that
I know. Well,
I really like that.
all along you was going to get to have the box.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying, well, I have the box.
Yeah. And now it's like, yeah. I mean, but still, like I said, though, I'm sure when whoever finds it, when they open it up, the box is the last thing they're going to be thinking about.
Really, remember when we were on our way to Chama or someplace, and we got out for something or another, and I'm not even kidding you. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Out there off of the road was a box about this big, and the lid was off of it, and it was burnt like it had been in a fire,
Yeah.
And of course I knew that wasn't the treasure, but for a microsecond you think, oh my God, I found it. And it didn't even matter that thing looked like a burnt up stone.
Yeah, so that's the kind of excitement that the finder will still have, and the kind of excitement that we'll still have, probably tomorrow, just,
Okay.
And
well,
we still love you, Forrest. We're, it'll be okay. And
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be mad about it, and I'm still loving the fun.
Yeah.
But he needs to change that provenance, because that needs to not go no further, because that's important. It's called history. If history's wrong, then we be dummies, huh?
Yeah. So the finder, I guess, might have to, that might be his problem, her problem. That might be our problem. How's that?
That's right. That's right.
That'll be our problem when we find it.
Mm-hmm.
And okay. And also, these things are just our opinions. So, yeah. So be kind in comments. And
that's right. We're just killing time while it's winter. See that frozen tree right there?
It's pretty.
It is pretty. That's not my house or my yard or nothing.
So folks, please be sure and subscribe and like our video. And do we have anything else to talk about?
I think we did it.
Okay. Okay, well.
Don't be mad, Forrest Fenn. Don't be mad.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just trying to figure it all out. And it's okay to email us back, because we won't turn on you.
That's right.
Yeah. So maybe you will. Anyway, so
maybe
thanks, everybody.
He will.
What?
You said maybe he will, right?
Maybe he will email us back.
Yeah, okay. It sounded like you said, maybe we will.
No, we won't turn on you. Yeah, we're nice people. We're just having fun, and anyway, it's still just a fun thing. It's not our life, so
Hmm.
everybody. So anyway, we'll see you next time, and good luck everyone with your search.
Good
Bye.
luck. Bye.